Test, 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 one, test, test, one, test. Cool. Wait, no, why did I do it that way? I'm fucking stupid. Hey Mango, 1 second. Test, test, 1, 2, 1, 2. Test, test, 1, 2, 1, 2. Test, test, 1. Okay, cool. What else do I need to do? I need to do that. What else? What else? La la la. La 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 la. Let's go to settings real quickly. Good enough. Good enough. Test. Okay, yeah. Still plenty loud. Right, fellas, let me know how the audio is when we get into like music and combat and stuff, because I've ever so slightly changed some things, but it may not even be noticeable, which if so is fine. What else? Have I got anything else running that I don't want running? I don't want my CPU to start getting too hot and then turn into a radiator. No, it's just 14 in OBS, which is fine. Someday I'm gonna have to upgrade. When I am a richer man. Okay. We're gonna get right into it. Yeah, it's the second option, or the first option, depending. Well, it's my second option. We've got to figure out what's going on in Charlian. See, with an attitude like maybe someday I'll get a better PC, you gotta rob some people, you know? Just go out and rob some locals. Tour of the city was a pleasant distraction. I've read all this before, but I'm refreshing myself. Doesn't understand how the vote could be unanimous. The forum is concealing its intentions. Let's dig deeper. It's fair, but it's weird that they are being so spooky about it. I'm gonna need some Paladin XP for when I get to the moon, so might as well get the XP for Paladin. Oh, Scott, she's... Okay, I'm alive. I'm fine. Yep, I'm fine. Let me just put my glasses on, because we're going to be reading a lot today. Because, of course, we have to set up the entire expansion. Of course we do. Kryl is intent on uncovering the reason behind the forum's inexplicable behavior. An unsettling change has come over Charlian, but together we will divine the underlying cause of the Forum's callousness. As I mentioned before, however, questioning the councillors directly is a fruitless endeavour. They seem to have already come to the consensus as to what and how little they're willing to divulge. Which is why I began scouring Charlian's archive of historical records for any hint of a connection to the final days. Suffice it to say that progress has been slow. There are only so many dusty pages one can skim in a day, but now that I have this band of willing reinforcements, the search should proceed all the swifter. Let us reconvene outside Nomenon, shall we? Exit the annex to the right, and you'll find the archives on the western edge of the woods. I'm gonna try to take a bit more time, now that I know how much fucking reading is gonna be in this expansion, at least for the setup. I'm just gonna be taking way longer in reading the dialogue, so hopefully that doesn't bore some of you. It's just a way for me to try to take a moment to read it and not continuously stumble over myself. Again, I'm still surprised there's no inn in Charlian. I think I might turn down the sound just a touch. It's quite loud in my ears. If you want the sound booted up on stream, just give me a shout. I wonder if we're going to actually find anything out sooner or later. Obviously I was expecting to get into the Tower of Zot like immediately, but no. They're making me do all the stuff before doing it. I suppose it's probably if you need to do the trust system, they want you to have access to everybody. Because I suppose if you didn't have a tank... No, if you didn't have... If you would just tank, you'd be fucked. Because you wouldn't be able to get a healer for the trust system. And the only healer in this party is Alphino. How are you doing anyway, Harp? Do you want me to answer funnily or seriously? My directions were easy enough to follow, I hope. In any case, you stand now before the doors of the Numenon, Charlian's grandest collection of books and tomes. This building is actually only an entrance, and one of many at that. For the archives of the Numenon extend deep beneath the surface like the roots of a tree. The vast halls of the great Gubu Library pale in comparison to the Numenon's endless maze of subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Charlian is free to enter and peruse its shelves. Well, most of its shelves. Only Archons are afforded access to certain restricted vaults. I've dispatched Stola and Raha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alizé and Alphino will help me continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you are only permitted to browse the first floor here at the entrance. Even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Charlian's history of foreign policy. Your task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you, a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues we're looking for. Let us be about it, shall we? I've told the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once they've found some promising tomes. Happy reading! So I'll give you both answers. Yes. Answer 2. You ever felt like a stagnant pool before? The title on this spine reads The Story of Charlian. Long, long ago, on an island in the northern sea, there lived a Rodigan man by the name of Nyankrepf. Nyankrepf was a student of astrology, and he divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. So, it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for that imperiled realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror, the strangely churning waters drove people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Moses' crew hauled them aboard his ark, but the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel into pieces. With only moments to spare, Moses wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to safety atop Alabatha's spine. I hate these fucking fantasy names. Why are there 2 returning players with Midgard somewhere? What are they up to? There's no fucking way you read all of that! There's no fucking way! You were there for like 3 seconds. Motherfucker is definitely just... refugees from the surrounding region huddled here alongside them, but it was not before disputes over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight, Moses gathered to him his crew and his grateful passengers, and abandoned the ark to those reddened peaks. They journeyed to the coast, where they built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island and settled upon that very spot. The settlement prospered and grew, and in time became the city of Charlian we live in to this day. Like Stillwater, those that stink like rotten eggs, more like a pond with a lot of like heavy algae on top of it, you know? Waiting for a stiff breeze to roll by and kick some life into it. But the thing is, that's the thing, right? You can't be the oh my god, there's so many floors. The wind will never come. You have to be your own wind. Roads of the old colony. Roads of old, the colony. Many years ago, on the banks of Thaliak in the Dravanian hinterlands, a Charlian colony once thrived. This settlement was originally established as a mere outpost to study the ethereal sea in the year 1311 of the 6th astral era. Scholars dispatched to Eorzea found the facilities wanting. Their demands encouraged a gradual expansion in structures and services. As rumours spread of a growing community of academics, the area was further inundated with Eorzean students hoping to share in the renowned wisdom of the Charlians. 50 years later, the Forum passed a motion to recognise what had become a flourishing town as an official Charlian colony. Eorzean residents took to calling the colony itself Charlian, which led to no small amount of confusion when discussions turned to subjects of the motherland. In response, some Charlian inhabitants, if pressed for a name, would simply refer to it as Emporium. Following the Great Exodus, however, goblins and treasure hunters claimed for themselves a corner of the abandoned colony and gave it yet another name, Idleshire. The following chapters go on to introduce the most prominent features of Idleshire. The book does not appear to contain information on the Forum, or cover the history of Charlian's motherland in any greater detail. Become the wind, Harpy. It's very difficult. You gotta really change your fucking perception, your like mental perception. The little box prison you put yourself in, it's an awful place to be. But it's you got no one else to blame but yourself, really. The voice of a growing city. In the years which followed the founding of Charlian, civic policy and other matters of import were decided at the Ecclesia. The Ecclesia, a public forum of which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the citizens' population grew, however, the format became increasingly impractical. A larger number of participants gave rise to an ever longer debate, resulting in significant delays of vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions, but in the year of 201 of the 6th Astral Era, it was ultimately decreed that Charlian would transition to a new form of governance. The nation would now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from among their peers by means of a nationwide vote. Thus was the Forum as we know it today conceived and created. Still rifling through materials, are you? Unfortunately, I'm struggling to find just the right tome. An introduction to the heavens. Well, well, well. Have you ever gazed at the skies above and contemplated the mysteries contained therein? I speak not of shifting cloud patterns, but the vastness beyond, of the sun and the twinkling tapestry of the night. Some think the dome above us to be a finite space, yet amongst the leading thinkers of our age, one scholar's depiction of a boundless sea of stars has firmly taken root. Alas, this heavenly sea remains an unreachable, unknowable destination. There are a few indeed who can explain in satisfactory detail why our own star is believed to revolve around the sun. It was the technologists of Alag who came closest to understanding the laws which govern that starry abyss. It was they who launched Dalamud, and sought to expand beyond our earthbound... Wait, they call it Earth? Holy shit. Our earthbound existence. Yo, we can get away with calling... Eorzea Earth. You don't use Earthbound if you don't have a name for your planet, like a phrase for what is a sick. Having read of their ancient ambitions, I wonder, has your interest in this field of study waxed or waned? What if I were to tell you that the eternal constellation were arranged differently in the distant past, that their positions continue to shift almost imperceptibly but measurably as we journey into the future? Would it shock you to learn that the stars drift further and further apart, and may indeed do so forever? Are you eager to learn more? The book is on the wrong subject. Search for the Work contains... Yeah, I mean, I think space is really interesting, but ultimately fruitless to us as humans, because we'll never... You and I watching this right now, listening in this very moment, we'll be dead long before we get to explore the stars. So, we can but imagine. There's no harm in that. Forever 20 summers. Going to the moon, mate? Don't know what you're talking about. See, thing is, the moon flying out in space, I'm sure we could do. Who knows, when we're like in our 50s, maybe even... Yeah, in our 50s, maybe you can take a very expensive trip to the moon. But anything beyond that, even beyond Mars, not gonna happen. My beloved seeker of knowledge, have you ever put learning before your health and neglected to feed and rest your body as you should? I, too, once engaged in such foolish practices, but one night engrossed in philosophical study, I had an epiphany. For all the world's mysteries that drive us to reckless abandon, we have so very few years of life in which to achieve our goals. Thus, do I share with you this mantra. I am forever 20 summers young. The number itself is unimportant. You could be 19 or 23 or 40. Whatever age you are when you discover this manual, let it be the age you aspire to remain. Though mindful, healthy living through mindful, healthy living, you will extend the time available to spend upon your chosen research. Another day, another moon, another summer to grasp the greater truths you pursue. In the pages that follow, we will explore the secrets of maintaining one's physical condition from a biological, ethereological, and arcane viewpoint. I'd read more of that book. Yeah, I'd read more of it. I want to see how many more books there are. I don't want to read the last book. Any book around here? Is there a book? No, there is not a book. Stewards of Wisdom. During the chaos of the 6th Umbral Calamity, Archon Moses, founder of Sharlayan, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on an island in the Northern Empty, he instructed his people thus: renounce the ways of war, pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason. The Sharlayans took to heart these words of their savior, and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other, a nation born from strength of minds rather than the strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. Wealth of expertise could be bartered for wealth in coin, and the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. I'm gonna have to take a lot of water breaks. It's alright, this is all just training, this is all just practice for when I decide to be bothered to try voiceover work again. And so it was that no matter the trials and tribulations of the age, the citizens of Sharlayan would live by their founder's teaching, for the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star. They would eschew the tools of war, and with knowledge, deliver the world. You could absolutely roleplay as a librarian here. We apologize for the inconvenience, but the reference desk is currently experiencing an unusually high volume of requests. Please stand by until the issue is resolved. No. You don't have to do ER-fucking-P. Keep that shit out of the general chat. I don't want to, like, that shit is, like, illegal, like, in most places in the world. Indecent exposure. Lewd? Well, if it's in shout chat, then no. If it's in say chat, well, no. If you're deliberately trying to be horny in front of other people, well, I suppose you won't take it elsewhere, do you? That's your kink, isn't it? Well, if your kink is being in public, then I'm allowed to kink shame you, because you're invading my public space too. Fuck you. Degenerate. I'm gonna have a seat here. This is where I lewdly... Nice cock, bro. Just two dudes chilling. There's nothing gay about it, okay? Do you know what's funny? Like, you never sit on a bench next to a random person, do you? Because it just seems weird or rude. But why don't we? If it's just to sit there in the moment together, what's the problem? I don't want that corona? That's bullshit. Before that. Oh, we're going to the gazebo. They'll talk to me and be social? Or maybe that's something we were going to get over. Just say hello, just say that you're relaxing, and then you chill. Dunno, I'm also the same way, I don't want to be talked to, but I think of all the very few scant interactions I've had with strangers, and it never actually turned out to be a bad experience. Fuck, well, apart from one. One was very weird. One was very fucking strange indeed. But that was at a public bus stop, so, you know. With a very drunk, somewhat homeless, ex-military man. Sorry, were we... Were you waiting long? I wanted to make sure I'd borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alphino and Kryl should also be along shortly. I was delayed in a similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles in the Archon stacks mentioned the final days specifically, so we have no choice but to start with the tangentially relevant tomes. If they are even that. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare, and share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate. Plenty of comfortable places to read, and a ready supply of hot tea. Oh, I was always quite fond of reading outside. But it's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss home. It's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family servants and ask how things were. It seems our dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alphino and I were to return to Charlian, we were not to be allowed to cross the threshold. Well, they can't stop you getting there. A harsh measure indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position, and that of the Forum, will perhaps lead to a reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day, I'm certain of it. And what of you, Graha? Have you been to visit your family, or do they not live here in the city? Ah, well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Charlian, yes, but I was born rather further away. Wouldn't he have been born where Mnago comes from? Or something like that. Actually, I don't know. What am I talking about? Yeah, I was gonna say, there's no, I'm fucking wrong. That's the M tribe. I'm dumb. Because that's not how the naming conventions work. It's the letter in front of the name, which is the tribe you come from. In the southern reaches of fuck me. In the southern reaches of Ilzabad, in fact, for generations my people have dwelt in Korvos, the coastal region opposite the Isle of Thavnar. The Allagans founded a city in that fertile land and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Mikote to serve as labourers. Of course, the massive earthquake of the Fourth Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the Fifth Umbral Calamity froze the seas solid, many of the tribes still living in Korvos braved to journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, and they might prevent the remnants of the elegant technology from being misused. Isn't Korvos under Garlean rule? For the past 50 years, yes. Some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces, but Garlemald renamed the region to Locus Aemonus. Locus Aemonus. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Darnus. Darnus Deus. Nail Darnus. What is it? Nail. Whatever. Nail Darnus, anyway. I know this man. But if you don't know the story of 1.0, you don't know what the fuck Darnus is. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in Allagan civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time, already, voices had been raised in favour of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the Allaganai no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once did. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and the traditions of Alec. As the last child born with the Allegheny, I was given over to the custody of friends and the students of Baldessian, who had me registered as a Charlian citizen. I never even considered. Forgive me, it was an unkind question. Even Thancred was taken in by Archon Louis Soir, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs and rescued orphans are more common among Charlians than you might think. Yet regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn, and with sufficient why can't I fucking say the word? It's a word I know. I think I'm just reading out loud so much that my brain is starting to perspicacity. There we go.
Perspicacity.
Never mind. Wait, what the fuck is perspicacity? Christ. The quality of having a ready insight into things. Perspicacity.
Perspicacity.
Perspicacity. Okay, never mind. I thought it was a different word. I've never heard perspicacity before. And with sufficient perspicacity, we outsiders can even learn the vaunted title of Archon. 'Tis exactly why I have such love for this country, and why I wish it to remain a nation of which citizens can be proud. Hear, hear. Another good reason to get to the bottom of the forum's stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books, Harpy. More company should be arriving any moment now. I do hate strangers talking to me in public, especially. I don't know. I'm back to my own MSQ now. Enjoy yourself. I will do. He's lurking. Thank you for the lurk. Ear wiggles. Oh, Christ. Excuse me. You're in my destination spot, sir. Or madam. What is this like pseudo army sergeant? Like it's raining out and I see the fancy. Oh yeah, they're fancy shoes. They're actually fancy shoes. They are actually fancy shoes. Yeah, it's fancy shoes. I still don't agree with the haircut. The haircut still looks a bit too bitchy for my tastes. But it's not my character. There are others better suited to poring over old history books, so I thought I'd try my luck with more recent events. If I can oh my god. If I can find anything to better inform the forum's baffling behavior. Get me away from this fool. Oh, it worked. Ha! It worked! What do you want me... Do you want me back to change my hairstyle every day? I mean, dude, it's your character. Wait, you disappeared. Or are you hiding? Do you know what? Fuck this. Hold on a second. Again, it's your character, dude. I honestly don't really mind. This is probably my favorite track so far. Okay, let's get back to the story. I've had my nice, like, 5 minutes of relaxation. Hit! Okay. You've never seen the end of the MSQ, Harpy? No, no, no. Judging by how much reading is going on, by how, like, even the people taking their time with it that can get through content with still absorbing it, yeah, it's gonna be a while, dude. Even D3 finished. Well, I don't know how D3 goes through the story, right? I feel like him and his lady go through it at the same time, don't they? So they probably, like, I don't know. I thought they, like, paced each other. Of course he's gonna finish Final Fantasy. He wants to do the endgame stuff with his lady and his friends. We've returned with our selections. Although I must say, the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mistress Kryl has already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters. And more than a few which barely mention... As such, we will be looking into research papers for the Umbral Calamities, as well as articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected source. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amarot firsthand, and I fear I may be overlooking crucial details. You can talk to me. I'm a stretch. Maybe that'll help. I'm gonna get up and stretch as well. My thanks. Now where to begin? First things first, what kind of phenomena did the ancients encounter as the final days grew nigh? complete destabilization and primals of no, the worst kind of phenomena as you can imagine. Primals of unrivaled power were summoned from ether, no. Well, yes. Hold on, what was the question? What first things first, what phenomena did the ancients encounter as the final days drew near? Complete destabilization of creation magics. Yes, the unfolding catastrophe wrought havoc on all manner of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifest in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable abominations prowling the streets. I do hope you paid attention during Amarant. Of course, dude. Yeah, of course I fucking did. That more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived until the present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Stoller surmises that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Asians. Was there aught else of note which heralded the approach of the final days? Other places before the entire sky wasn't. They say it began with a keening sound from the land itself. Alpha, no, you can answer this one. Yeah, I can't wait for Final Fantasy XIV 2 to be out before Harpy plays finished. Bruh. You make it sound like there's just unbelievable amounts of content. Or maybe it's just that I am that slow. The fact that people finished it in early access means that it's not going to be that bad. I'll get there. The entire star was engulfed by disaster all at once. That's not true. That's not true. Also, keening sound, isn't that like a ringing sound? The action of wailing in grief. No, okay, so that actually reminds me of the sound the ancients make in 7. Not the ancients, sorry, but the planet. You hear it from time to time, just... That you hear that, Cloud? That's the sound of the planet. The planet is hurting. Whatever, Aerith, shut up. You can answer this one, Alphino. You're the scholarly type. Me? Well, as you wish. The Amaritines were debating the cause of an anomaly which had led to... Yes, see, why the fuck... I knew that it was like other lands were being fucked. Why wasn't it on the list? Instead it had me questioning whether or not going to Alphino was the right answer. The Amaritines were debating the cause of an anomaly which had been observed in the lands across the sea. By this fact alone, we can deduce that the final days occurred not all at once over the world, but rather had a point of origin which began and spread. Others also spoke of a keening sound rising from rising from the land itself, just before the region was visited by catastrophe. We never did hear this sound ourselves, of course. Thus, as I'm giving up. So the ground was crying out, you say, to be considered the harbinger of doom. It must have been quite distinctive and probably quite loud. That actually straight up sounds like the noise So I don't know if you hear it in Midgar, but like throughout points of the Final Fantasy VII, you just hear this like horribly high-pitched wailing noise at certain parts of the story. Because of like, I think you would probably even hear it in Midgar. Fuck. 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 Fucking shit. Fucking fuck off. Fuck off! Shout chat, you fucking cunts. Fuck off. I'm trying to... Oh my god. Fucking losers, man. What?! Alright, there we go. Actually pissing me off, genuinely. Fucking going on about American politics in... Fucking Charlian. Go fuck off, man. Go somewhere else. Not in my Final Fantasy VII. 14. This is Final Fantasy VII times 2. FF7 sound effects. Where is it, man? Whatever, never mind. So the ground was crying out, you say? We covered in a, must have been quite sound, probably distinctive. I'll have to speak to people of the Numenon's mammoths and ask after any books which make mention of such sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definitive action did they make? They summoned Zodiac. I really want to know what happens if you click that. Did you play FF7 Remake? I don't have a PS4. So no. They summoned Zodiac. The first primal. I already know it's coming to PC, but it's coming to the Epic Store, so it means nothing. It might as well be that it's not coming for another year. Yes, with Elidibus serving as his heart, so many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. And to be honest, I still need to finish FF7 normally. I'm like I believe I'm like 3/4 of the way through. And I've been told that like they work as separate games, but like Impy even said that it feels like a sequel. It's like a remake but feels like a sequel. And from the brief clips I've seen of what happens in Midgar, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? None of this happens in Midgar. We do not know exactly how Zodiac brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will were the laws of nature set aright. Then, once the balance was redressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final day. Lives sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls they intended to render unto Zodiac. A trade that would have allowed them to restructure the shades of loved ones absorbed by Olam. Lives sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls they intended to render unto Zodiac. A trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones absorbed by the primal. Well, that's kind of fucked. Or might have, had Venat and her followers not manifested their opposition. Yeah, no shit. Hey, yo, we're gonna have new Amoritines. We're gonna like populate our city again, and we're gonna use those new fucking like babies basically to sacrifice them, kill them. That's fucked. No wonder they created title. Like, no wonder people like, fuck that. No, what the hell? Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now that I understand, now in my understanding of events. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telepharoi truly meant when they were speaking of bringing back the final days. We've seen what they're doing with the towers of theirs is forcing people to summon primals. Is forcing people to summon primals a kind of catalyst? Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caught by the unstable creation magics? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech, a convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash? But this is all just pointless conjecture at this stage. Let us return our attention to the forum, shall we? We should keep an eye out for a Stola, but 'tis time we begin studying these research papers. It's coming out on PC in 2 days, really? You're not going to buy it? I spit on them. I don't like Epic's business practice, really, but to be honest, it's not Epic's problem at this point. It's Square Enix's fault. It's Square that's putting it on the Epic store, not Epic. Epic might have been like, yo, I don't know what deal they cut. Maybe they didn't even cut a deal. Maybe just maybe Square didn't just... They wanted the cheaper license fee. They knew that the game would sell well, and they want a bigger cut. So they chose to go exclusive to the Epic store. Actually, no, there would have been a deal cut. Otherwise, they would have released it on both Epic and Steam, because Epic doesn't like multi-platform launches still. You're with us or you're with nobody. And I know people are like, oh, when are you gonna, like, give up this, like, not wanting to, like this hate of Epic, but it's not really that, well... First of all, it's a company. You can hate a company all you want. No one's gonna get offended by it. If someone's like, why do you hate this company? That's fucking weak. That's bitch behavior. Many forum members are also researchers or professors. If they know aught of the final days, then that knowledge might suffice in their writing. That is my hope, anyways. What else do I know of Corvos? Precious little, I'm afraid. I've not returned since Master Galuf first brought me here. I can tell you that the Corvosi rebels still seek to slip the yoke of their imperial masters, though the fighting is far less fierce than it once was. Oh, and they have carpets. Flying carpets. The legends are quite extraordinary. Also, if I'm not mistaken, the remake is going to be a full-priced fucking game. Just like the fucking PC versions of Kingdom Hearts, despite the fact that they're old. Let's look. Final Fantasy. And it's got no... it's got, like, people like, oh, but, it's finally on PC. So? A bunch of other Final Fantasy games are on PC. Like, Square has stopped giving a shit about, like, stopping things, like, being on PC. Like, we got 15 on PC, like, a year after release in console. Also, to be fair, I don't plan on playing the remakes until they've at least got, like... 3/4 of the story out. I'm not gonna wait years between, there's no point for me. Like, I just don't care. I'd rather just play it in full. Or I'd rather just play the collection. Also, yeah, the Strangers of Paradise game is coming to Epic on release, apparently. The 3rd... oh my god, it's doing it in American. The 18th of March. Final Fantasy VII Remake. 16th. You're gonna play it? Well, I figure you're gonna play it through charitable means. There are others better suited to poring over old history books, so I thought I'd try my luck with more recent events. I've already read that. Have I read that? Yeah, I read that. Really is comforting to have all these dedicated assistants on hand. Right then, enough chatting, more reading. Stola. I'm the last, am I? Well, my extended search of the Archon stacks produced 1 or 2 possibly useful books. But I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Orianger learned of the source's reflections from the Giran oracles for its potential to cause panic and confusion. That tome was deemed apocrypha and sealed away. What does apocrypha mean? Just apocalyptic, or like I know what apocalyptic is and such, but apocrypha. Apocryphal, of a story or statement of doubtful authenticity, although widely circulated as being true. Of or belonging to the apocrypha. No, that doesn't help. What is an example of apocryphal? Urban legends, stories about phantom hitchhikers, deep-fried rats, spider eggs, and bubble. Okay. So, conspiracy, basically. Apocrypha is are the biblical books received by the early church as part of the Greek version of the Old Testament. Okay. It was deemed apocrypha and sealed away in the Great Gubu Library. It is even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final day, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason, then, that my colleagues, be they Archons or Councillors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet, when you confronted Master Forcheneau, with knowledge of the Telepharoi and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestions that they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the Forum would know if the final days were truly upon us, which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the Forum's behavior, it is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. Yeah, exactly. They know something, and I want to get into it. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty. Whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. Oh Christ. I'm not really good at reading, as these streams have shown in glaring blindness. You labor for what feels like an age as a Stola's research assistant. Yeah. I believe it. They're all knackered. Your efforts to gain Graha's attention go unnoticed. He appears to be lost in his reading. I found naught of interest so far. I think Stola might be right about not getting our hopes up. Thank you for your help, but I think I can manage the rest without your assistance. If I were you, I'd steal a few quiet moments for yourself. Oh dear, you look exhausted. But what about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subjects, as I mentioned? Fuck. The day was well spent, should you wish to read them again. A mammoth at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. For a moment though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied with our research for quite some time. Well, I did find one paper focused on the world before the advent of the first Umbral calamity, but it reads more like a work of fanciful fiction than an actual academic supposition. I really want to go take a shower, so I'll be back in like 25 minutes. I think I'm gonna have to end the stream because I'm not gonna leave the stream running for like 20 minutes while I disappear, so I will be back maximum half an hour. So I will BRB? There's no way. Can I get away with I'm gonna see if I can get away with staying logged in. I doubt it, but I'm gonna give it a go. So maybe I'll talk to you a bit later, King. Okay. See you in a bit.